Okay, so starting with market entry cases. So we've covered basically what are case interviews, we've covered profitability cases, and now we come to the second type, market entry cases. There are a lot of other types as well apart from this, but they're generally not asked in interviews, so you don't need to worry so much about them. Profitability and market entry are the main ones. So basically, what are market entry cases? These cases focus on whenever a company is diversifying into a new field, or they are trying to launch a new product, or they're entering a new market altogether. So, uh, for example, we have a telecom operator. Our client is a telecom operator, and they're looking to diversify their presence, and they wish to enter the electronic home security market. So, you see, the electronic home security market is a completely new market for them. This is a new product they'll be launching, they'll be entering it. So that's what the case revolves around. So they want us to estimate the potential profits and suggest how to capture significant market share. So there's our aim there. During most market entry cases, we'll be looking at if entering the market is feasible, and if so, what would be the impact on profits and market share. So we'll start with a basic guideline. Anirudh?
Yeah, okay. So now we'll be telling you about a basic guideline that you are required to follow for market entry cases, and we'll revisit them again once you are done, explaining all the different aspects. Okay, so okay, yeah. So the initial points are the same as the previous cases that we did. The profitability one. It is the same. First, you are required to summarize the question. Next, you're required to verify the objectives. Ask preliminary questions as you did in profitability cases as well. Formulate and convey your strategy, and from here on, after this, you'll have to follow a few different steps compared to profitability cases. The first step would be to find the market size and the market share for the particular product with which we are trying to enter the market, and then we'll estimate profits to check if entering the market makes economic sense. So only if if the product has the potential to provide profits to the company, would the company want to enter the new market. So we'll check if this makes economic sense. So on the next, yeah, and next is we'll check if the market entry can actually be implemented. So this will be in terms of the value chain. If we'll be able to establish the value chain, and finally you'll be offering recommendations and giving supporting reasons. So this was the basic guideline. Now we'll be explaining to you the different steps, and then we'll revisit the basic guideline just to make you understand better. Go ahead, Soumya.
All right, okay. So as we talked about in profitability cases, the first thing we do is we ask preliminary questions. After being given the statement, we'll ask preliminary questions. So last time's ones were a little different. Majority of the questions are same, but some are different. For example, whenever you're entering the market, so the first thing you want to know is what metric should you use to decide whether we should enter the market or not. You could use profit margins, you could use you could use potential revenues, and you could use investment costs. These are just some. There might be something else that the interviewer might say, but this is a good first question to start with. The second would be, is there any reason behind choosing this new market? So, why you would want to ask this question is, suppose if there is a particular reason, not aside from making profits, maybe it's something in the long run that the company has foreseen, then you want to work with that when you're coming up with your final solution. So you want to know what the motive is behind choosing the new market. Next comes the product. So this was there in profitability also. What is the client's products and what are the competitors' products and how do they compare? Because here you're trying to establish market share, so it matters if there are any distinguishable features in your product. Next is geography. Which geography does the company want to operate in? This will help you figure out marketing tactics and distribution based on which geography the company is operating in. And finally, the value chain. So what part of the value chain are we looking to enter? Is just production? Is it distribution? Is it marketing? What is it? Okay. Here, I think we can pause if there are any doubts. If there are, just put them into the comment section. Otherwise, we'll continue. Okay, all right.
Okay, so there are no doubts, right?
Yeah, none.
Yeah, okay, so we'll be moving forward. And so the slide you see, you can see the 3C and 1P approach. And so there are basically four buckets here. The first is the customer, next you have product, third is competition, and finally company. And these four buckets together, they cover everything that you can ask about a company, okay, about the company, about the business situation. And this was actually the old approach. So next we'll also look at the questions that come under each bracket, but then we would suggest that you don't use this old approach. And if you go through case interviews cracked, you'll realize that this approach has some redundancies. So we'll be avoiding this approach and we'll be using the newer approach that case interviews cracked has proposed. So okay, Soumya, we can move on to the next slide. So these are the questions under the four buckets. You can have a look. Maybe we'll just pause for a moment here. You can have a look. So you have questions about the customer, about the competition, about the product, and the company. So the older approach suggested that
Yeah, so this we
sequentially ask all
won't. So
questions
this is
from
an older
all the four
approach.
buckets.
Yeah, but again, if you forget the newer approach or if you're blanking in the interview, this is always something good to go back to. So
Yeah.
it's not something that I would say is not worth looking at. But try not using it if you remember the newer approach because it is very redundant. I mean, you see some questions which overlap each other, so there's really no point in asking them again and again.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so I guess somewhere we can move on to
All
the
right.
next.
Okay. So this PPT will be shared at the end, so we'll
Yeah,
move forward.
they can just check the
Yeah.
questions later on.
Okay. So now the next thing after doing preliminary questions is will be okay. So this is the start of the newer approach. What we'll be doing is we'll be looking to see if it makes economic sense. So how do you see if it makes economic sense to enter a new market or start a new product? You evaluate this by estimating your profits. Okay, because only revenues or only costs will not help. You'll have to see if it's profitable to enter. So how we calculate profits is market size into market share into profit per cost minus the fixed costs. Now each of these will be broken down and we'll be looking at each of these separately. And during your case also, you want to look at all four of these individually and ask questions pertaining to each one. Profit per unit is price per unit minus variable cost per unit. This makes sense. Right. So now ask questions from the customer bucket to estimate the market size. We showed you the previous slide, right? So in that, there were a lot of questions related to customers. So ask any questions from those so that you can figure out the market size. After that, ask relevant questions from the competition and the product buckets to estimate market share. So you see the last slide comes in useful here. Obviously, make sure that your questions don't repeat because that might irk the interviewer. But those questions are a good base for where you can start from. And then finally, inquire about the price, the variable cost, and the fixed cost involved. So you see, asking these questions will cover all of the parts of the profit structure. Okay, so here we look into the profit analysis. This is the formula I just told you. So the profits are divided into the number of units sold, price per unit, variable cost per unit, and fixed cost. And the number of units sold is market size and market share. So once you have all of these, you can start figuring out how much profit you will make. We can pause if there are any doubts at all.
Guys, do you know why we've taken variable cost per unit, whereas fixed cost we've taken as a whole? Can anybody tell me the answer to this? Soumya, were you able to hear my question?
Yeah, I was.
Okay, so yeah, right. So variable cost changes with number of units, exactly. So that is why we've taken variable cost per unit, because the variable cost, the total variable cost you'll simply find out by multiplying with the number of units. Whereas the fixed cost, fixed cost is because of you could take, for example, if you are setting up a factory, the fixed cost would be the cost of the land, the cost of setting up the factory, and that remains fixed. That does not depend on the number of units that you're producing. Whereas the variable cost depends on the number of units. So that is why we've taken variable cost per unit, whereas fixed costs have been taken as a whole.
Yeah, also, right. Also, can if you could tell me what's the difference between market size and market share? Yeah, okay, yeah. So market share is calculated with respect to competitors, and market size, total number of customers. Exactly. Okay, so good. Market share is basically the entire market, so that you take that as 100%. And market share is whatever you own, whatever percent of the market you own. And market size is your customers who you are catering to. So excellent. I think we'll move forward now.
Yeah. Okay. So, guys, after you check that the decision makes economic sense, you're also supposed to check if it can be implemented. If the value chain can be established in the newer market, because otherwise, even if you're able to make profit, but you're not able to establish the value chain, you won't be able to, get the profit only because you won't be able to sell those many units. You won't be able to produce or distribute or market. There are three parts of the value chain. You won't, even if one part is missing, you won't be able to achieve that level of profit. So we'll now, after we're done with checking economic sense, economic feasibility, we'll check if we can implement this, entering the new market. Okay, so yeah, so this is checking the feasibility of the value chain. Here, the value chain would look like this: production, distribution, and then marketing. So these are the three things that you need to take care of if you are entering a new market. You'll have to make sure that you're able to produce as many units that you want, if you're able to distribute those, and you're able to market those, because any new product needs marketing. Only then customers will buy the product. So do a check if we have available resources, capital, land, labor, and equipment to meet demand. Then see what kind of distribution and marketing would be required to ensure products reach customers. So that is what I just said. Mm. Yeah, and check if it makes sense to enter independently through acquisitions or a joint venture to maximize profits. Okay, so here I'd like to tell you guys that it is not always that when you enter a new market that you don't actually take care of all the aspects of the value chain on your own. You don't enter all three parts of the value chain on your own. So it is also important to check if it makes sense to enter independently. Otherwise, if it doesn't, you might need to enter through acquisitions or joint ventures. So acquisitions would be when you'd be you'd be acquiring smaller companies, or even if larger companies. If you have enough capital, you would acquire larger companies as well. So that is one way of entering a new market. You can acquire a company, and then you can enter the new market. Otherwise, you could have a joint venture. A joint venture would be for example, Maruti Suzuki is a joint venture. It was a joint venture between Maruti and Suzuki. There are two different companies, right? So that would be a joint venture when two or three different companies, they come together and they jointly enter the market. They produce it together. The management becomes common. I hope that answers your question, Nidhi. Yeah. So so uh, so this was this. We'll move on to the next slide. So okay, so when you're establishing value chain, you'll have you'll face three kinds of challenges, and those would be the production challenges, distribution challenges, and marketing challenges. And you'll have to take care that you're able to overcome all these challenges. Only then you'll be able to enter the market. So you'll have to take care of all aspects of the value chain. Okay, so that was the implementation part. We'll pause here to answer any doubts or any questions that you guys might have.
Also, this is the end of case interviews. I mean, market entry interviews, market entry cases. Right.
Yeah.
So, this is all you need to know. After this, we'll do an example.
Market entry cases are, very easy.
It's very easy once you understand it.
Yeah.
Very easy. Everybody thinks profitability ones are easy, but it's not. It's opposite. Market entry cases are very easy.
Even we thought profitability cases were easier, and while preparing for this presentation, we realized that it's the opposite actually. So yeah, it's really easy.
There's nothing in this. It's very simple.
You just have to check if it makes economic sense, and then you have to see if you can implement it through the value chain. Okay, so
Okay,
how to
Anirudh, there's a
think
question. How to think about
marketing
marketing
challenges? Yeah.
challenges?
Okay, so okay, who asked the question? Okay, Nitin. So the thing is, it might change how you market a product depending on the kind of target you have, that the customer target segment target that you're targeting, or based on the country also. So if you're targeting a younger customer segment, you would probably want to market your product online, because that would be the best way. But if you are maybe targeting a middle-aged customer segment, you would probably market it through like TV channels or newspapers, right? So the marketing can also differ that way. So you'll have to take care if the company will enter, if the company will market its product on its own, or it will have to, it might have to hire some external agency to market its product. So that is what marketing here is about. Like Saul Goodman on TV. So I don't know who Saul Goodman is. Soumya, do you know who Saul Goodman is?
Yeah, Breaking Bad.
Okay, so I haven't watched the series. Okay, we'll move on to the next
It's
question.
okay. It's a pop culture. Leave it. Okay.
Okay, so we'll move on to Arham's question. What is the difference between discussing implementations and establishing value chain challenges? Okay, no, so these are not different, Arham. This is part of the same implementation only. This is not different. This is implementation only. You check the value chain thing only, and
It's okay. So we talked about value chain in implementation.
yeah, so it's the same. So there are two steps only: the
Yeah,
economic
so
challenges
we talked about
and then the value chain. The economic sense, and then
yeah.
if you're able to implement the value chain.
All right. Okay. If there are no more questions, we'll go on to the example. And
Soumya,
remember, this
we can
example is
revisit
interactive,
the
like last
guidelines
time.
now.
All right. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
So this was our basic guideline. So first of all, summarize the question, verify the objectives, ask your questions so that you clarify what your aim is and what all you have to do, what metric do you have to take. Formulate your strategy, find the market size and the market share, estimate the profits to see if it makes sense to enter, and then check if it can actually be implemented, and finally give your recommendations. All right. So that's the basic guideline. Coming back. Right. So we'll start with that example case now. Okay, wait, there's another question. How does organizational structure come into picture of market entry cases? I saw it in the potential questions list. Where organizational structure?
Not in the preliminary questions.
Where do we have organizational structure?
In the 4 buckets, the 3P1, 3C1P thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
In the company section, we have organizational structure.
I guess it would matter if you were thinking about doing mergers or you're acquiring a new company. I guess then the organizational structure would matter, because then you'd have to look into your human resource and see if there are layoffs are required, or will you need to expand or hire outside counsel. So I guess in that case it would matter.
The same would also apply for joint ventures. You might need to look at the organizational structure then.
Yeah.
Because it would have to be in sync for both the companies. Otherwise, the company won't be able to. The joint venture won't be able to function effectively. Is it used?
Is it used frequently? Not really. No.
No.
No, it's not. All right, okay. So let's come back to this. All right. So our example case is the same one as the one in the beginning. Our client is a telecom operator. They're looking to diversify their presence in India and wish to enter the electronic home security market. They want you to estimate potential profits and want you to suggest how to capture a significant market share. Okay. Now this case is open to you. Um, Preliminary questions. What all questions do you have? Send them in. We'll do this case together. What products are we talking about? Okay, so there's essentially one product. It's an alarm system which is installed in the home along with sensors. So whenever someone tries to rob the house, the alarm will go off. Um, which geography does the client operate in? It's a good question. Anywhere in India where there's a market.
And Vikhyat, you would ask this question if this was a profitability case. Here you would be asking which geography does the client want to, enter. Okay, so which geography does the client want to operate in? Because it is not already operating there. So you'll ask which geography it wants to enter. Yeah.
Yeah, make sure you frame your questions correctly because this is a market entry case. Okay, so what metrics should we use? We'll be looking at profits only. So the aim is to calculate how much profits we want to get. Well, how much profits we'll get. And then on the basis of that, we'll see if it's feasible to enter.
Soumya Aryan Dosaj, he asked the right question, the first clarifying question.
1 second. There's one before that also. What part of value chain are we looking to enter? That, so we've not decided exactly, but generally the industry players they manufacture and they use third parties to distribute and retail. So this tells you that we'll be looking into the manufacturing part of it. Right. Now we come to what is our target market share. Okay. So we want to get about 5% in the first year. Then why is the company moving to this particular product? Is there a specific reason? No, we're just looking to diversify and get more profit. Same question. Market size 5%, I mentioned.
No.
Do we have any data regarding the FIRs or burglary in area?
Soumya, Avriti's question is what is the market size of the target market? So the entire size. She's not asking what market share we want to target.
Oh, all right. Okay. You're asking the market size. Okay. So market size, I would tell you, don't ask in the preliminary questions. Market size, you should ask once you establish the profit structure. When you come into the economic sense part, then you ask the market size. All right. So ask that question when we come to the economic sense part. We'll answer it then. Okay, so then do we have any data regarding the FIRs or burglary in area? See, we're not looking at a particular area. We're looking at all over India. So this question doesn't as such make sense in that scenario. Okay, what are our competitors and how do their products compare? We'll again look at that a little later once we come into the economic sense part. Then we have who all are competitors. Again, same thing. Okay. What are your target clients? So target clients again that relates to our market size. So again, that will come in the economic sense part. Is there any reason behind choosing the electronic safety market? No, we're just looking for a new business, just a new market to enter, and this is what we came up with. This is what management came up with. So we're just doing it. The next question, are we going to enter only in metropolitan cities or rural areas too? Anywhere where they'd be willing to buy. So this is what you would have to look at. Once we go down into the economic sense part, once we start breaking it up, you look at, should we do metropolitan city? Should we do rural? Should we do both? Okay. What is the product range? It's only one product. The alarm system, which is installed with the sensors. That's the only
But
product there
then,
is.
but then we have,
And
we can change the number of sensors. So the cost would vary according to the number of sensors that the individual buys.
right. And does the company manufacture any components, or will we have to set up a new production line? Let me just see.
So this again, you'd visit probably in the value chain part, right? Not here.
Yeah, yeah, not here, but I'm seeing if there is something on this. We'll come back to this in the value chain part because it doesn't really make sense here.
Yeah.
All right, okay, so I think you covered all the preliminary questions. So 5% of market share. Reason behind choosing it, not nothing in particular. Right, so we have one product, and we're looking at anywhere in India where there's a market. Okay, so that was the first part of it. Now we move on to the economic sense part.
Yeah. Okay. So for economic sense, Soumya will calculate in the next slide, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, first of all,
So okay, so we're looking at the four parts, right? We're looking at yeah.
okay. So first of all, we'll look at the market size, and then we'll look at what market share we're trying to capture. Okay. So yeah, the first is market size, and you might need to estimate it yourself sometimes. But more often than not, the interview will tell you what the market size is. But sometimes it becomes a guesstimate in itself inside the case. Okay. So to estimate it, Soumya, can we go to the that population
Well, let's ask
division?
them first. Like, okay, Avriti, you asked us what is the market size of the target market. So can you all think of how we can calculate this? Like, we don't have a value beforehand. What do you think our market size could be? How do you think we could calculate this?
Yeah. So guys, you probably are experts in guesstimates by now because we covered it very long ago. So you might have had some practice now. So go ahead, tell us how would you proceed with this guesstimate? How would you estimate the market size?
And remember, this is a guesstimate within a case interview, so don't make it too long. Think of it in very simplistic terms.
Okay, Dinesh, your point is correct. Mostly these alarms are used in metropolitan cities by upper middle class. All right, but then how do you proceed with the guesstimate? Vikhyat says from demand approach. Okay, Vikhyat, how would you calculate the demand for the product? A number of houses in India, and then
Number of houses is a good idea, but like expand on it a little bit. Think of it from like the beginning, how you would
yeah,
start and how you would
yeah.
get to an answer.
Okay, we would be neglecting the rural household. Okay, Vikyat, even though the demand would be small, we won't be, completely neglecting the rural household, even there, because that would be, a, a blatant assumption that rural households would not buy this product because that might not be true. Frequency of burglary in an area. Okay, Avriti, that would be really difficult for you to calculate, right? Without any data at all. Will no people above earning 3 lakhs per annum. Okay, Nidhi, your answer
So
does
you
not,
guys are
your
telling
question does
us,
okay, what? Yeah, well, if Nidhi, if you mean we'll calculate the number of people above earning above 3 lakh per annum, I don't think that would be the way to go. Income segmentation of households. Okay, will
simply
definitely
because
apply.
how are you going to divide?
Yeah, just tell us
Yeah, so you don't know
what kind of
how. So okay,
segmentation you'll look
you're
at.
maintaining.
Yeah, Zubair says we'll first look at population breakdown by income. Okay, Zubair, you're partially correct. We'll also look at okay, so Nitin says we'll look at average family size, so 120 million. Okay, so it's a mix of both Zubair's and Nitin's answer, and we'll also look at urban rural divide. Okay, because that will definitely affect the buying pattern for the product, because not all, for rural areas it will definitely be less. Okay, so yeah, see, guys, look at the slide. We here we've just assumed 100 crore population. So what we'll do is we'll divide it into rural and urban in a ratio of 70s to 30, and then we'll find out the number of families. Here also, the thing is the average family size we've taken different for both rural and urban areas. Okay, for rural areas we've taken it to be 5. For urban areas we've taken it to be a 4. The size of the family to be 4. Okay, so we'll proceed this way, and then we can estimate the demand in both rural and urban areas based on you know uh, common sense here, because rural areas would buy less of the alarm system. So we'll proceed this way. But then in this case, when you begin, after that, the interviewer would probably tell you that you don't need to calculate further. And the market size here, the interviewer would tell you is 15 million households. Okay. Okay, so we're done with the market size part. Now we'll move on to the market share. Right. Okay. So for market share, what kind of questions do you guys think we should ask? What would you ask to the interviewer to, arrive at the market share?
And bear in mind, you already know that we want a market share of 5%. That was already established in the preliminary questions.
Yeah. So what kind of questions would you ask to know more about the market share of different, competitors and all? So Nishant says, how many competitors do we have? So that's a nice question. You could ask that. What is our target? Okay, Vikhyat, that is already asked in the preliminary questions, right? So our target is to get a 5% market share in the first year. And is the market division equal? Okay, so Nishant's question would be a good one
Right,
to
so I'll
ask.
answer this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many competitors do we have, and is the market division equal? So basically, the industry, it's highly fragmented and it has many local players, and the largest player has a market share of about 5%. So that
Yeah.
should answer both of those together.
Yeah. So Zubair asks, what is the price of competitor product? So this is also a good question to ask. That would,
All right.
come
Okay.
under
So
the
we don't
competitor
have the
benchmarking
exact
part.
price of them, but we'll tell you.
Yeah, go
Right.
ahead, Soumya.
So we'll tell you how it happens. Like the industry is such that the majority of the costs are concentrated in transportation, and so lesser the distance from the factory, lower will be the cost. So since manufacturing is cheap and transportation is not, factories are set up close to markets. So that's what drives the price of the product.
Okay, so competitors and their share. Dinesh, that has already been asked. What is the market share of the biggest competitor? Aryan, that has also been already answered. So the largest competitor has a 5% market share, and the market is highly fragmented here. A lot of local players. What is the
Yes,
market
okay,
growth
that's an
rate?
excellent
Yeah,
question.
that's a good
What is
question.
the market growth rate? Yeah, so it's about 10%.
Okay, so it means we'll have to strategically set up factory near to major cities. Yeah, so Nitin, that is kind of a good conclusion, because Swami already mentioned about the transportation here, the distribution. So
All right, I think you've covered market share.
okay, so
Move on to the next one. So you
okay, so
covered,
the
yeah.
questions here are, what do we know about the market shares of the current players? The industry is highly fragmented with mainly local players. The largest player has a market share of about 5%. So you already asked this question, guys. I want to understand what drives local dominance. Okay, so guys, you probably did not ask this, right? The answer to this is the industry is such that majority of costs are concentrated in transportation of the fragile equipment. Lesser the distance from factory, lower the cost. Since manufacturing is cheap and transportation is not, factories are set up close to markets. So that was Nitin's conclusion. So we'll move on to the next slide. We also have a few more questions. What is the growth rate of the industry? You guys asked this. It is about 10%. And then competitor benchmarking. I'd like to, okay, we index benchmark our product with competitors to see if we have an advantage. I'd like to do it on the basis of price and other product parameters. Okay, so you guys asked about the price for our competitors. So we don't have a, okay, so the answer here was we don't have a product of our own. We plan to enter with the same type of products that that already exist at the same prices. So we won't have an edge in the prices also. Also the products will remain the same. Now we'll move on to calculating our profits.
All right. Does anybody?
Isn't price of the product relevant for estimating?
See, okay.
Yeah, it is, Aram. So we'll be calculating that now. So, and then while calculating, we'll be asking. So it is, because we've divided it into slides, this way it might seem that it is a separate, topic altogether. But then when in an actual interview, it would, go in a flow. So it would be continuous. So we're coming to the price of the product here in the profit calculation slide. Okay.
Okay. So ask questions that would relate to finding out the price and the profit per unit. Okay, wait, since you already asked about the price, I'll tell you. So they generally price between 5,000 to 15,000, and the margin earned is 10% of the revenue. Okay, if anybody, if you all have like paper or pen next to you, please write all this down. You can like simultaneously solve it. Last time we did a profitability case. Some of you asked for a numerical one, so this is a numerical one. Right. So okay. So the price was 5,000 to 15,000. The margin earned was 10% of the revenue. And apart from that, there is a servicing package which is bundled. So usually 200 per month is charged, and a margin of 25% is earned in servicing. All right.
Let's just repeat the data one by one, maybe a bit slower, so that they could write.
I'll tell you what all right. So the price is from 5,000 to 15,000. The margin that you're earning is 10% of the revenue. And apart from that, there's a servicing package which is bundled. And usually 200 per month is charged. And on that, we have a margin of 25% in servicing. So that's all the profit related values that we have. Any questions related to that? Okay, what is the price of buying property near the market? Okay, we're not looking at buying property right now. Let's just look at profit. Let's not look at cost. Let's just look at profit of selling the product. Is it a subscription-based model or one-time buy? It's a one-time buy. But then you have the subscription kind of thing because it's your monthly servicing package is there, so you'll have to subscribe, right? Yeah, we have the servicing package. Yeah. So is the margin in servicing and servicing package different? Okay. Soumya? No, we only have a margin in servicing, which is 25%. The margin in the revenue is 10%. Servicing and servicing package are not two different things here. Huh? $200 per month is per unit. Yes, it's per unit. 0.5 $. Where did dollar come from? The price of 1 unit is $5. No, Nitin, what Soumya said was it ranges from 5,000 to 15,000 rupees, Indian rupees, not dollars. Yeah, okay. So 500 to 1500. Okay, it's firstly 5000 to
So
15,000, not
Dinesh probably calculated the
500
profit.
per unit plus from. All right, okay, so hold on to that. If you all have calculated, okay, so before we get to the calculation, market size was 5%. Before we get to the calculation, one question you guys should have asked is why is there such a big range in the prices? Because I mentioned 5,000 to 15,000. So what would be the reason for that range? So the answer for that would be there's basically, we talked about sensors, right? So the price will increase as number of sensors required or more. So bigger houses would have more number of sensors. Yes, okay. Right. So market size was 12 million. Yes. Was it 12 million? No, it was 15 million, I think.
Yeah, 15 million households.
Yeah. And 5% is the market share. All right. Okay. Okay. So now let's look into.
Yeah, so Aryan asked a
So we
very good
did this.
question
We
here. What
covered
is the
this.
average life of one unit so that we can calculate total servicing cost per product? So the answer to this one,
That's
Aryan,
good. It's
is
1 year.
1 year. Yeah. So one product, when you buy a product, it lasts for 1 year. So this is the third question in the
Okay. Now let's get to the calculation part. Okay. Okay. So okay, I've already showed it. So this is how you might want to divide your household. We have 15 million households, right? So that's our market size. So we can divide that into small houses, medium houses, and large houses. Now they've taken 1/3 here, but if you feel like taking something else that makes economic sense, then feel free to do that. Okay, after this, can anybody tell me how you would like to proceed in this? Okay, I'll repeat. Um, we've been given that the market size is 15 million, and we've divided it into small houses, medium houses, and large houses. Right. So, if you want to divide the percentage of houses in each differently, which makes economic sense to you, you can do that. Um, right. So now, how would you proceed? Right. Okay. So dividing. Okay. So this is correct. 5,000 for small, 10,000 for medium, 15,000 for large makes perfect sense. After that, what will you do? So calculating. Okay. So Aryan written, we can calculate average profit per unit. Yes. Go ahead with that. How would you get it? Can you give me a value? Can you come to a value? You can take the average price is 10,000. Since we have from 5,000, 15,000, and then what will you do? Remember, we have margins also. So include the 10% margin and include the 15% margin. Sorry, 25% margin.
So Dinesh, you already
Yeah, so can you
calculated the profit, remember? So you'll have to just, take the average there. You just give us a range then per unit. But then here, if we take the average, we can get a, fixed value, a single value. Guys, give us a value here.
600 profit? Aryan, is that 600 profit you're talking about? And then total 1600? Yes, you're absolutely correct. Good work. That is the total profit, where I'll show you on the slide. Okay. So our average price was 10,000 and profit at 10% would give you 1,000. And we have the monthly charge of 200 and we have the product's lifetime is 1 year and we're earning a revenue of 25% on it. Right. So that would give us 600 per unit, which is exactly what Aryan calculated. And then after that, the total profit becomes 1,600. So yeah, that's exactly how it is. Now, come to our total expected profit. This is just for the product. After that, include the market size and the market share into this. Where did 5 million come from? Yes, 15 million into 5% into 1600.
So yeah,
That is
so
correct.
that is the
So we
correct
have
answer.
120 crore. All right, so this is the profit you would look at
Guys, if you
from
have any doubts, you
entering into
can
this market.
type in the chat box.
Right, and this is typically what a profitability, a numerical based question would look like.
Yeah.
Any doubts, or is this clear?
I think we can move on, Soumya.
All right, okay, so.
Okay, so guys, now we'll look at the second part, which is, establishing the value chain, the implementation part. Okay, wait, why did we divide households? We are not using it. So, Zubair, when we divided it into, smaller, medium, and large size households, we took the average of all three, right? Since they were equally divided, one third of each. So 5,000 for the smaller houses, 10,000 for the medium size, and 15,000 for the larger size houses. So we just took the average of the three, and the average price came out to be 10,000 rupees, and we calculated profit on that. Otherwise, you could have done, you could have simply, uh, calculate the profit for the smaller houses, then the medium houses, then the larger houses, and added them all. The answer would have been same. So we did use it. Yeah. Okay, so now,
Yes, it was just about making our calculations easier for us. Otherwise, you could do it individually also.
Yeah. Okay, so did we divide it in equal proportions to simplify calculations? Yes. Yes. So that was to make our calculations easier. Okay, guys.
See, at the same time, you want to be smart about it. You don't want to needlessly complicate your calculations that you only have to do, and then you might, trip up there and make some mistakes. So keep it easy for yourself. Like we took one third, one third, one third to make it easier for us.
And while you're assuming that, as we already told you during the estimates also, think out loud. So when you're doing that, tell that to the interviewer and ask the interviewer if the interviewer agrees with that values, if they are good to go, if the numbers are good. Okay, the interviewer would stop you if he or she thinks that the numbers are off, or if they want you to use different numbers. Okay, so I think we don't have any other questions, so we'll move on to the establishing value chain part. So this was the implementation of the value chain that we have to take care of after we've established that we are will be potentially making a profit out of entering this new market. So for the value chain part, can you guys tell me what kind of questions you would ask? If you remember, there were three parts. We just included them in the slide. So if you remember, just tell me what kind of questions you would be asking.
So the value chain was production, distribution, and marketing. So let's focus on one by one. So let's start with production.
Yeah. Okay, so Zubair, are we going to produce it ourselves? The answer is we don't even have internal ability to produce this type of equipment. So no, we are not going to produce it ourselves. Are we experienced in making electronics equipment? So the question becomes irrelevant after we've already said that we are not going to produce it ourselves. We don't have the internal ability to produce this type of equipment. Do we already have any manufacturing units near cities? Okay, again, Dinesh, we are not going to manufacture it ourselves. Joint ventures then. So we don't exactly know right now? How many products
Before
are we planning?
jumping to the conclusion of joint venture, look at the entire value chain.
Yeah. How many products are we planning to produce? Okay, so Lakshya, if you mean the different types of products, we already told you we only have a single product, that only the number of sensors change, and according to that, the prices change. But here you won't ask this question, in the value chain part. You need to think about the production, not the number of products or the type of products here. Those we've already visited. Do we have any distribution network in place? Okay, so Nitin, this is a good question. So the answer to this is lowering transportation costs has been looked into and is difficult. Also because the market is very competitive, we cannot afford to pay higher margins to distributors. Okay, so here the distribution challenges, the question was actually if we could have an edge in the distribution part, if we could push our product through distribution channels more than the other competitors. Are we going to market it from manufacturers? Okay, so Kumar, Rahul, we don't know that yet. We can acquire, Sachin says we can acquire an electronics company or outsource the manufacturing. So yeah, we could probably do that, either acquire or outsource the manufacturing, right? What are the distribution channels like? Okay, Soumya, do we have an answer to this? Also because of marketing.
No, there's nothing about distribution channels as such. It's basically whatever is in the industry, whatever the other competitors doing, ours are exactly the same. So there's no differentiating factor, and also we cannot change anything because the market is very competitive.
Yeah. Any specific number we are looking for? What kind of number, Nidhi? Number of units you want to produce per month. Okay, so that was already answered, right? We need to capture a 5% market share. So are we planning to market it aggressively? Is the marketing network sufficiently penetrated? Okay, so basically if you're asking about the marketing challenges, the answer is consumers are very price sensitive and they do not care much about the product brand. Okay, so
the conclusion of that is that basically marketing is not really going to help us.
yeah.
Okay, so now we've gone through the entire value chain. We've looked at production, we've looked at distribution, we've looked at marketing. We've seen that we're not producing. We've seen that we can't change anything in distribution, and we've seen that marketing won't help us. So why are people going to come to us? Right, that's the question you need to be asking yourself at the end of this. So since that's not going to be happening, what is the alternative?
Yeah, so guys, these are the 3 types of challenges, and we already answered the answers to these questions. So okay, what would you ask next? What would your conclusion be? Guys, you were throwing out conclusions before when you were supposed to ask questions. Just recall those conclusions. Some of them were pretty close to the answer. To buy the local brands and put a label on it. Okay, so that is basically acquiring an existing competitor in the market. So yeah, that would be a good conclusion, Nishant. We should consider joint venture or acquisition. Okay, so Aryan, said hit the right answer exactly. So you'd either consider joint venture or an acquisition. We might look for takeover of subsidiaries. That would be acquiring, Nitin. So that has already been covered. We can do joint venture with existing competitor. Okay, yeah. So we can either do joint venture or acquisition. So that would be our conclusion. All right, you'd either do a joint venture or acquire an existing competitor. So what would you ask next? What would you require to go forward with it?
Okay, so before just a little bit background before we do that. So the two options are joint venture or acquiring an existing player, right? But realize that we talked about not having anything to contribute.
So
Since we
yeah,
don't
so which
have
one would be a
production, we
better
don't have
option? So
distribution, we don't have marketing. Right.
guys, when I mentioned Maruti Suzuki, they had a joint venture because Maruti also probably had some experience in the same field before. It was already manufacturing some products. So that is why they had a joint venture. But when you're entering a new market and you don't have any existing capability either to manufacture, you can't even make a difference in the distribution or marketing, you would probably not have a joint venture. Okay,
Yes, so exactly. We would then look at acquiring.
so Nishant asks, is the largest shareholder open to acquisition? So Nishant, that would the question. I don't get it. The largest shareholder of what? Okay, the largest competitor. Are you asking about that?
Okay, of the market. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll look at that later. You just have to suggest if you just have to recommend if acquiring is the best way to go. You don't have to look into that right now. We have to acquire then because we cannot provide any input. That's right, Sachin. So we have enough capital to acquire smaller brands. So Aryan has asked the right question here. So even if you decide to acquire, you need to have capital to acquire an existing competitor. So this would be a good question to ask, and the answer to that is yes, we do have enough capital to acquire an existing player. Okay, so yeah, read that, and that was the end of it. So our recommendation in the end would be to acquire an existing player, and since we already have the capital for it, and we don't have anything to contribute to the value chain, we'll be acquiring an existing player. So that was the end of the case. If you guys have any questions, you can just read through the slide once. Okay, I'll just read it along. Soumya, just move to the previous slide once. I'll just read it along once. This means independently we cannot have a significant share. So this would be your conclusion. Okay. Then the only remaining options to capture a 5% market share are through a joint venture or by acquiring existing players. Joint venture would make sense if there is some part of the value chain where we can complement existing players, either in production, distribution, or marketing, retailing. So that together with our partner, with our partner we have an edge. However, we've already seen that we cannot manufacture and cannot provide any edge on distribution or marketing front. Then it makes sense to acquire existing players. So finally, you would ask if we have enough capital for that, and the answer is yes, we do. Okay, so that was the end of it. If you guys have any questions, you can ask them right, either through the chat box, and type your questions in the chat box.